Hello, everyone. I am not Terry True Crime, as you can tell. Terry True Crime couldn't be here again today, so you get me again. That's okay. I got her blessing. I'm Llama, and welcome to Midday Missing, where we highlight current missing person cases that need more attention. Now, if you joined us here from Couch Court with Llama, that would be my show. We are glad you are here, and we promise we are saving your seat on the couch. And after this episode, we will bounce you back where we will be covering the Brian Koberger hearing that's supposed to happen at 2:30 Eastern. We will be going live at 2:15 Eastern. But we'll still bounce you back over there, promise. Now, remember, you can join us over on Couch Court with Llama, where your favorite llama, me, and a few opinionated co-hosts, my besties, are watching trials with you every weekday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, before we get started, if you love true crime and you're local to Ohio, I'm in Ohio, or ready for a road trip, don't miss this. That's right, join me and my partner in crime, Terry, for a special live event. We'll be at the Blend of Seven Winery in Marion, Ohio on Saturday, July 19th, diving into the still unsolved case of Joey LaBute, a Columbus man whose mysterious death has haunted the true crime community for years and is a very important case to me. And we'll also be doing the missing persons case of Andy Chapman, whose family is still looking for answers. So tickets are on sale now. It is a small venue. We've sold quite a few. So definitely get those now before they're sold out. Now let's get into the missing person cases for today. Our first, sorry, I talk all day. Nobody likes when your voice does that. This is what happens when you stream for hours every day. Anyway, I apologize. So our first case we're going to talk about today is Stephanie Lyn Crane. So in the remote mountain town of Challis, Idaho, where the Salmon River winds through ranchland and kids rode bikes without fear, 9-year-old Stephanie Lyn Crane vanished in broad daylight on October 11th, 1993. Her disappearance has stunned the quiet community and remains one of Idaho's most haunting missing child cases. Now, Stephanie was born on September 28th, 1984. Oh, she's like a whole year and a day older than me. Oh. To parents Sandy and Ben Crane. She was the eldest of 4 children and often helped care for her younger siblings. Now, Stephanie was an outdoorsy child who enjoyed fishing and had a playful cowlick in her brown hair and was described as a cautious tomboy who was also afraid of the dark. I get you, girl. Me too. I'm 40 and I still am. At the time she disappeared, she stood approximately 4 foot 2 inches tall, weighed between 65 and 85 pounds, and had a scar near her right eye, and was dressed in maroon sweatpants, a maroon and white striped sweatshirt with the word "Gimme" on the front, and maroon and white sneakers. Oh, I can tell it was the 90s. You remember color coding your whole outfit when I was that age? Because I was pretty much the same age as her at this time. Anyway, I digress. That Monday afternoon, Stephanie's mother, Sandy, dropped her off at the Challis Lanes bowling alley, a popular hangout for kids after school. Stephanie was given money to bowl and $1 for a snack, and Sandy expected her daughter home around 5 p.m., as the alley was only about 500 yards from their home, so that is not very far at all. Stephanie reportedly left the bowling alley at approximately 4:45 p.m. What happened after she walked out the door remains murky. Some sources say Stephanie was seen around 6 p.m. walking on Highway 93 towards Challis High School, which is across the street from the bowling alley. Another report said that a friend's mother offered to give her a ride, but Stephanie declined and mentioned forgetting her book bag at the high school soccer field. When Stephanie hadn't arrived by 5:30 p.m., Sandy began to worry. She called the bowling alley, but they still hadn't seen her. As concerns turned to alarm, the family began looking for her themselves. By 8:15 p.m., they reported her missing to the Custer County Sheriff's Office. Now, authorities responded immediately. Good for them. That same night, a full search effort was launched. Over 7,000 miles across 2 counties were searched by ground and air. That is a lot. A creek behind the bowling alley was combed, and the following day, a massive operation involving 300 searchers, 2 planes, tracking dogs, FBI agents, Idaho State Police, and Fish and Game officers joined the effort. Despite the scope of the search, though, no trace of Stephanie or her belongings were ever found. During the investigation, witnesses reported seeing a yellow pickup truck with red stripes in the area of the high school around the time Stephanie disappeared. That vehicle has never been definitively connected to the case, but it remains one of the few publicized clues. It has never been located, and no license plate number could be provided. Interesting. Her case was later featured on America's Most Wanted in hopes that national exposure might bring a lead. In February of 1994, a thorough search of an overlooked cistern was conducted. The cistern had been abandoned for 12 years, and the cistern was in a weed-covered field about 50 feet from the path that Stephanie would usually take. And 4 days were spent digging out the cistern, but Stephanie was not in there. In the spring of 2000, a new and deeply disturbing lead emerged. An inmate in Nampa, Idaho, came forward with a story involving a man he referred to only as the Drifter. According to the inmate, a female friend of his had rented a room in this man's house back in 1993, the same year Stephanie disappeared. She told the inmate that she heard screams and cries of a young girl coming from the basement. Oh boy, this is horrible. When she confronted the Drifter, he claimed he was punishing his runaway daughter and strictly forbade anyone from entering the basement. Alarmed, the woman left the apartment soon after, especially disturbed after discovering female underwear in the man's bedroom. Authorities began investigating the Drifter and uncovered a criminal record that included sexual abuse. He was brought in for questioning and administered a polygraph test, which he failed. Okay, but that doesn't really mean anything. A search of the man's former residence led to the discovery of bloodstains and human hair fibers in the basement. What? While the blood samples could not be conclusively identified as human or animal, the fibers were determined to be of human origin. Unfortunately, due to the lack of follicles, DNA testing could not be performed on the fiber. Wow. Adding to the suspicion, a female employee who had been working at the bowling alley the night Stephanie vanished viewed a photo lineup and hesitantly recognized the Drifter's face, though she couldn't make a definitive identification. Because of the lack of physical evidence tying him to the case, the man was never charged. And to this day, his identity has never been made public. And the lead, like so many others in this case, went cold. Oh, I'm already annoyed. Years later, in 2002, I didn't say that right. I'm sorry. 2002. It's been a long day, you guys. I'm sorry. Years later, in 2002, the investigation took yet another alarming turn. A man named Keith Glenn Hescock was being investigated for the abduction and assault of another young girl in Idaho. More on this later in today's episode. Investigators discovered that he owned a truck matching the description seen in Challis in 1993, the yellow truck with red stripes. What? Hesek had also been in the area at the time Stephanie vanished, and her grandparents later said he resembled a weird guy they encountered during a family camping trip just days before she went missing. Though suspicion remains around Hescock, there is no physical evidence linking him directly to Stephanie's case, and he died in 2002. Again, more on that later. In the aftermath of her disappearance, her parents divorced in 1994, and both have since passed away from natural causes. Oh my gosh. Her mother, Sandy, passed away August 14th, 1997, and her father, Ben, passed away October 11th, 2012. Over the past 30 years, her remaining family have never stopped hoping for answers. And Stephanie's story has been shared across Missing Persons Network, and age-progressed images of what she might look like today have been distributed by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Despite public awareness campaigns, renewed appeals, and the passage of time, no new leads have emerged. Investigators believe that Stephanie was taken against her will, though whether by a stranger or someone she knew is still unknown. Now, they encourage anyone with even the smallest piece of information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, to contact law enforcement. Now, if you have any information about the disappearance of Stephanie Lyn Crane, please contact the Custer County Sheriff's Office at 208-879-2232. I know her parents aren't with us anymore, but maybe we can still get some answers and for the rest of her family. Oh, that's just that's horrible. That's horrible. And it's the early 90s, so we didn't quite have all the technology we have today that could have helped find her or the person that took her sooner. Oh, it's just, oh, that's heartbreaking. Now, if you know of or have a loved one missing and are interested in having their story featured on an upcoming episode and join us for a live interview, contact Amy, our assistant producer, by emailing Amy, AMY, at tcwtmedia.com, or send us a DM on our Midday Missing Facebook page, and we will contact you right as soon as we can and try to help in any way we can. Now for the next case. Ugh, okay. This one's about Amber Shawnell Hoopes. I don't know. I think that's it. If it's not, I apologize. I mean, no disrespect. So it was September 14th, 2001 in tranquil Idaho Falls, a community still reeling from the national shock of 9/11. Oh my gosh, yeah, this was 3 days after 9/11. 20-year-old Amber Shawnell Hoopes was home where she lived with her grandparents, Norris and Kathleen Bergner, on East Lincoln Road, a house that sat right beside their family-run classic truck and auto body shop. Amber was funny and thoughtful, passionate about creative writing, and loved photography and music, and even considered culinary school. Amber was an accomplished singer and sang with the Sunshine Singers from the time she was 4 and a member of the Bonneville Bonavers. That's awesome. She worked as a nanny and was especially close to her younger sister. That night, Amber spoke to her sister on the phone around 10 p.m., and her grandparents said goodnight around 10:30, believing she was winding down for the evening in her bedroom. Well, around 1 o'clock in the morning, her grandmother awoke to find the lights and TV in Amber's room still on, but Amber was gone. She woke her husband, Norris, and they searched the property. The door leading from the house was unlocked. Amber's belongings, her purse, paycheck, eyeglasses, and other essentials were all untouched. What was missing, however, was one of the pickup trucks from the shop. Ooh. They called the bag phone in the truck, but got no answer and immediately notified the police. I don't know what a bag phone is. The Bonneville County Sheriff's Office was quickly brought in. At first, there was hope. Maybe she had stepped out and would be back. But that hope faded fast. The pickup was found abandoned not far from home near the intersection of Lincoln and Amon Roads. It has been driven an estimated 60 miles that couldn't be accounted for. Inside, no amber and no clues. As investigators worked the case, suspicion grew that Amber had not simply walked away. There was no activity on her bank account, no communication, and no sign that she had ever planned to leave. Months passed, and in June 2002, a 14-year-old girl from Milo, Idaho, was reported missing. The young girl had been sleeping with one of her sisters on their trampoline outside their home. A family member discovered the girl missing at 5:30 a.m., but her sister was still there and unharmed. And panic set in quickly. A search effort led investigators to a remote trailer in Clark County, Idaho, isolated, hidden, and owned by Keith Glenn Hescock. That's right. We just talked about him in that other case we just heard. Hescock had abducted the teen and was holding her against her will, handcuffed to a bed. You don't say. Wow. But the girl managed to escape. Oh, thank God. While Hescock was at work demonstrating remarkable courage. Oh, never mind. They were talking about the girl demonstrating remarkable courage. I thought they meant him by going to work. Sorry, I read that wrong. But yes, that girl, very brave. Oh, I love that there's a good ending for that story, hopefully. She ran from the trailer and was spotted by a passing motorist who picked her up and called 911. Her escape would ultimately expose Hescock for the violent predator he was. When law enforcement closed in on Hescock, he fled into the rugged Big Hole Mountains, initiating a massive manhunt. During the pursuit, Hescock shot and killed a police canine and injured an officer. What a garbage trash person he is. The manhunt ended when Hescock turned the gun on himself and died by suicide. It was after his death that authorities began drawing chilling parallels between Hescock's abduction of the teen and the earlier disappearance of Amber Hoopes. Both incidences occurred in eastern Idaho. Hescock had a known connection to Amber's family, as he had worked at her grandfather's auto shop and had allegedly harbored resentment towards them. I'm just going to sidebar here. I don't really like to speculate when it comes to missing persons cases, but if he had access to a body shop, is the yellow truck with the red stripes, could that have been there and he just took it? If he was at all related to that one? Interesting. The similarities between the two cases, the timing, the use of isolation, the control, and the sudden violence, made Hescock the prime suspect in Amber's disappearance. Now, investigators believe that Amber, like the 14-year-old girl, was kidnapped by Hescock. But unlike the teen, she never got the chance to escape. To this day, no physical evidence has directly linked Hescock to Amber's disappearance, and her body has never been found. But for many involved in the case, the abduction of the 14-year-old was the clearest window into what may have happened to Amber and just how close Idaho came to learning the truth. I agree. Oh my. Amber's disappearance soon faded from national attention, but her family and community never let go. In 2005, September 14th was designated, I don't know why this is making me so sad, was designated Idaho Falls Missing Persons Day. Oh, now I see why Terry cries all the time when she does this show. Okay. A recognition of the ongoing crisis and the need to help these cases in public view. The following year, it became a statewide day of remembrance. Oh, it's so sad. Okay. In 2021, on the 20th anniversary of Amber's disappearance, family, friends, and community members gathered again to speak her name, to share memories and ask, still, what happened to Amber Hoopes? And in 2024, 23 years later, they gathered once more. There were candles, signs, and a simple plea that someone somewhere would come forward with the truth because Amber deserves more than silence. She deserves answers, and she deserves justice, and she deserves to be found. Oh, gosh. This is why Llama doesn't do this show. If you have any information, any relevant information, even if it's something small and you think it's irrelevant, doesn't matter. Just contact the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office at 208-529-1200. Now, over the years, investigators and internet sleuths alike have examined possible links between the disappearances of Stephanie Crane and Amber Hoopes, and one name comes up again and again: Keith Hescock. This guy. Hescock was a violent offender who died in 2002 during the shootout with law enforcement after kidnapping and sexually assaulting the 14-year-old girl. And he had a disturbing history of sexual abuse, animal cruelty, and lived in the same general region where both Stephanie and Amber vanished, roughly 2 hours from Challis, where Stephanie disappeared, and just 40 minutes from Idaho Falls, where Amber was last seen. So here's what we know about the theories surrounding Hescock's potential involvement. First, the proximity and pattern. So we know that Hescock had access to remote properties, hunting cabins, and rural areas, which some believe may have been used to hide victims or evidence. And, the isolated settings match the profile of both disappearances where girls seemingly vanished without a trace. Then you have the timeline. Hescock was active and out of prison during the periods when both Stephanie, which was in 1993, and Amber in 2001 disappeared. While there's no physical evidence linking him to either girl, some speculate that his death in 2002 prevented potential closure in both cases. I agree. And I don't think this kidnapping of the 14-year-old was his first time. Then there's the abduction MO. Hescock's known abduction of the 14-year-old girl followed a disturbingly organized pattern. He was armed, had restraints, and planned to flee to the mountains. If he had committed similar crimes before, it could explain the clean disappearances of Stephanie and Amber, with no witnesses and no physical trace left behind. And then you have to take the law enforcement into consideration. So officials have never publicly ruled out Hescock in either case. In fact, they've acknowledged the possibility and explored connections. But as of now, no confirmed evidence has surfaced directly linking him to either disappearance. I also want to know more about that other guy. They didn't want to say his name in the first one. I still have questions about that. Now, some believe there may be more victims of Keith Hescock whose stories we simply don't know yet, and I would be one of those people that believe that. Was he a one-time offender who escalated late, or was he hiding in plain sight for years, slipping through the cracks? Until there's definitive proof, this theory remains unconfirmed, but still compelling, especially for families desperate for answers. And to the Crane and the Hoopes family, gosh, I really wish I was saying that right. I don't know if I am. Our hearts are with you. Decades of waiting is a pain most of us can't imagine. I can't imagine. No way. But we want you to know you are not alone. We here at Midday Missing will keep saying their names. We will keep telling their stories, and we will not stop hoping, because someone out there knows something. I mean, there has to be somebody who knew whatever his name is. I don't want to say Hescock. Ugh. Somebody had to know him at some point in their lives. So if you have any information, please call either one of those numbers, and it just might solve a case. Now, I want to thank you all for joining me today. I'm pretty sure the lovely Terry True Crime will be back next Monday. Hopefully, let's all keep our fingers crossed. If not, then you'll see me again. I'm sure you'll see me again in the future. But thank you all again for being here with us today and listening to these cases. Now, don't forget, you can also join our Facebook group, Midday Missing, where we will post and share missing persons posters of the cases we talked about today. It's a simple way to help spread the stories and bring awareness. Yes, please share them on all your social media. It's free. And you never know, that one share could be like a spider web and it could solve something. You just never know. And then follow us on all social media platforms to stay connected. Remember, you can catch all of our shows right here on our YouTube channel, True Crime and Wine Time, and listen to our podcast on your favorite platform. Now, True Crime and Wine Time is now airing every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And this week, we are covering the case, How Did One Man Burn a City for Years? The Thomas Sweat Case. Yes, it's about an arsonist, but there is so much more to that story. So much more. You don't want to miss it. That's for sure. Terry's just going to keep yelling at me for the cases. I keep being like, yeah, let's do that one. And then it's bonkers. But anyway, we will portal you back over into Couch Court with Llama, where we are going to be watching the Brian Kohberger hearing live. I'll be starting that at 2:15, but y'all can hang out in the chat with the other wonderful chatters we have over there. Now, until next time, you guys, stay safe, stay aware, and let's help bring them home. And also, go forth and be amazing. All right, until next time, bye, everyone.